Hi you guys, today I'm going to be giving you guys the tea on my Invisalign journey. So I'm not gonna do too much chit chat, I'm just gonna get straight to the point so you guys can have all your questions answered about this process. I know it's taken me a long time to get this video done. It's been a lot of different things happening. I hope that I can cover everything that I need. So I hope that I can cover everything that I need to in this video. I made a little list so that I don't forget anything and, you know, so that I can really go in depth about this whole thing. It has been such a long journey for me personally, and it's always been something that I really wanted to do. Me fixing my teeth was something that I felt like needed to happen, one, and two, I was really insecure about my teeth for a really long time. By the way, I thought I would just be transparent and say that like my biggest insecurity is my teeth. I want braces, working on it. So let me just start. Sorry if I have a little list. That's one of the things that kind of come with having Invisalign, so pardon me if my speech is not the best. So let me just start by opening up to you guys a little bit about my journey in general with my teeth. So I have suffered from severe crowding, and with that came a lot. I used to suffer from migraines. I used to have not enough space for my tongue to even rest properly. I would wake up with bite marks in my cheeks. Sometimes I would cut my tongue with my teeth. I would always wake up with jaw pain because I had a bottom tooth that couldn't really fit. It used to cause my gums to pulse a lot. Like I would feel this pressure whenever my teeth were moving. It was just a it wasn't a nice time. You know, I didn't have a correct bite, so those are all of the things that came with that. In total, I have had 5 of my teeth removed, 4 wisdom teeth, and then when I got my Invisalign started, they had to take out another one. So that's just to give you guys an idea of the fact that, you know, my mouth was already overly crowded. So this is not just for cosmetic purposes, but this was also really affecting my day-to-day as well. So I decided back in July to look into getting Invisalign because I was finally in a position where it was easier for me to get it, because you know things like this can be costly. My x-rays. So this is after my x-rays were taken, and my orthodontist was basically going through with me what my teeth would look like after I finished my Invisalign.
How's that?
Yeah.
This is the bottom. That's what the bottom looks like. That's what it looks like now. That's what it potentially could look like.
That's so much better.
And then the upper.
Oh yeah. So I looked into it and I went to my orthodontist and asked some questions and basically got a consultation set up. As far as the consultation, they basically just go through everything that you need to know about Invisalign, as far as the costs, as far as the general maintenance, meaning like how often you would have to come to the dentist, and they take x-rays as well, and then they send them over to Invisalign, and then when you come back, then you get your trays and then you begin. So one of the questions that I was asked was, is Invisalign more expensive than braces? So I got my Invisalign in Bermuda, and currently in Bermuda, Invisalign and braces are around the same as far as costs. And you know, it really just depends on how severe your teeth are and what you want. You know, like if you would prefer to have braces versus having to kind of maintain it yourself with your trays, because when you make a decision to get Invisalign, you do have to make sure that you keep up with the daily maintenance, meaning that you clean your trays, you remove your trays before you eat, you keep them in for the allotted time that you're supposed to have them in during the day, and that you just consistently follow up with your routine. Whereas with braces, it's kind of, you know, because they're already on your teeth, you have a bit more freedom in the sense that you don't have to worry about taking them out and putting them back in, and you know, your orthodontist is kind of the one who really is in charge of making sure that your braces are doing what they're supposed to do. So I just want to give a basic rundown with the length of completion, because that was another question. How long do I have to have them in? It really depends on what your orthodontist or what Invisalign says based on the x-rays that you take and when they come back. So when you get your trays, you will know how long you're gonna have to have them in. For me, I officially got my trays in August, and I believe I'm going to be finished in March. So that's just how that's gonna go for me. But if I did not get that additional tooth removed because it was optional, it would have taken longer to straighten my teeth. But I was surprised that with my Invisalign that it wasn't like I was gonna have it in for 3 years, or you know, because I did a consultation for braces a few years back, and at that time they're telling me that they think that I'm gonna need braces for 3 years. And to know that this Invisalign procedure was only going to take me about, I think, 7 to 8 months, that, you know, was really convenient. So another question that I had was, why did I choose Invisalign? So I decided to choose Invisalign because of the fact that I didn't like the idea of having braces in my mouth. And I also didn't like the idea of how I would look with braces in my mouth, if that makes sense. I just felt like Invisalign was a better fit for me, and I was also committed to making sure that if I chose Invisalign, that I was going to keep up with what I'm supposed to do daily to make sure that my teeth straighten the way that they're supposed to. So I just wanted to share also some of the pros and cons of having Invisalign. So with Invisalign, because it is a situation where you have to maintain them yourself outside of your doctor's visits, I don't know if this is true, but I feel that you have more frequent visits to the dentist, you know, just to make sure that everything is going the way that it's supposed to. Initially, when I got my consultation, I was at the dentist's office 4 times for the first month, and then once they got a rhythm of everything, I started to have to come to them at least every 2 weeks to make sure that everything was okay. And then as things progress further down, you can go less and less, but they still have to check in to make sure that everything is doing what it's supposed to do. I would also say another thing too with Invisalign is that initially when you get your trays and you are putting them in for the first time, you will experience pain. Your mouth is going to be adjusting to this new bite, so you know it is going to be painful, and your teeth are going to be very sensitive when you first put them in. For me, I went through the pain of my gum healing because I had a tooth extracted, and I also went through the pain of my mouth adjusting to these trays, which was extremely painful. I ended up having to get a higher dosage of whatever they gave me to relieve the pain, which was not nice, but that only lasted for me for about a week, and then I was fine. But each time you switch your trays, your teeth are going to be tender. In the beginning, it would affect like how often I would eat. I wouldn't eat as much as I normally would because I would know that if I have to take out the tray that it was gonna hurt, and having to put it back in and clean your teeth before you put it back in, it would just be too much. So initially I was eating a lot less because it was just unbearable for me. But what I will say is that over time you get used to the pain, and as you switch your trays, your body starts to become used to what the pain is going to be like. But each tray is different. So sometimes when you switch your tray, it might not be painful, and then another time when you put your tray in, depending on what it's going to be adjusting, it might hurt more that other time. So in total I have 29 trays for this procedure. I'm not sure if if they are going to need to extend it or not, like once I finish my last set, but we'll see what happens, because I've heard sometimes that can happen with people. Everything is digital. They do these x-rays, Invisalign sends them to you, and sometimes your teeth might need a little more adjusting after what they send you. So I'm hoping that everything goes smoothly and I don't have to extend this once it's finished. But yeah, you get your trays. When I first got my trays, I was switching them every 2 weeks, and now I'm down to switching them every week. So every week, every 7 days, I put in a new tray. When it comes to maintenance with Invisalign, you have to make sure that you do not drink anything hot while you have in your Invisalign. You do not drink anything other than water when you have in your Invisalign, and that when you are ready to eat, that you remove them. You make sure that you brush and floss every time after you eat a meal, and you make sure you clean your Invisalign trays before you put them in. I'm going to do a follow-up video with you guys more about the maintenance, because when I was doing my research in Invisalign, everyone's different and different things work for different people, but I went on YouTube and I was just trying to figure out what I need, and I ended up finding out that I needed more than I actually did, and went off and purchased all these different things that aren't really necessary, everyone's different, so some things work for other people, but I don't think that I needed to prepare the way that I did when it came to just cleaning my teeth and my Invisalign, and I'll go more in depth about that another time and tell you guys what I do to keep myself clean. I will say overall Invisalign is a really big adjustment, but it's not something that you're not gonna get used to. It can be a little annoying in the beginning, but once you get your routine down, you know what to expect, you know how to prepare for it, and overall everything is just it just comes easier. Everything just starts to flow after a while. Another thing I would say is that for me, with my Invisalign, the first set of trays that I got, I didn't have anything as far as my speech that was impacted, but with the trays that I have in now, my speech is impacted because I have some brackets in the back of my Invisalign to push back my front teeth. So it gives me a little bit of a lisp, and it's not that big of a deal, but it is something that I have noticed since having in these last set of trays that I'm in. I'm currently on tray number 14, I believe, so I'm almost at the end of my procedure, and I'm really excited. Overall, I would say the results are amazing. I haven't had any migraines. I don't have those bad habits that I used to have. I feel like it's also preventing me from teeth clenching and different things like that I used to do. And overall, it's just really straightened my teeth a lot. One thing I've noticed too is that because my bite was so bad, that I noticed changes in my face, specifically my jaw and my lips. So I'll insert some pictures before, but each week I notice my jaw shifts based on whatever trays that I have in my mouth. and that's just because my bite was very narrow before, and now my bite is just going from this to this more. So it impacts the way that my jaws look sometimes, and I notice it in photos and stuff, mainly because of the fact that I guess I record a lot and I record content, so I notice it. But you know, my mom noticed it, but my friends and stuff, they wouldn't notice it. I guess if you see me in person, then you would notice that something's different, but not really be able to put your finger on what it is. Also, I wanted to say too that another reason why I was going to the orthodontist so frequently was because of attachments. So when you have Invisalign, you have attachments on your teeth. I'm gonna try to show you guys. Hope you can see them. But basically what the attachments do is they help the trays to stay in place when you put them in your mouth. So they add these attachments onto your actual teeth, and then the Invisalign trays are molded to go over the attachments. That's also what causes the pain sometimes, because it's like your Invisalign is locked in your mouth, and when you want to take it out, it's like you have to kind of figure out a way to pull it out, you know, and as you pull, sometimes the attachments can pull with it, so it's like it feels like you're pulling your teeth out of your face. But you know, after a while you get adjusted to that, and then sometimes you might have to add more attachments as your procedure goes on further down the line. So it's a lot of moving parts, literally, and you just have to remember that the journey is different for everyone. You know, some people might have really painful experiences, some people might not have the same experience as you, because you guys have different teeth and you guys are both on different journeys. So I would say it is good if you're interested in Invisalign to look up and research and hear different opinions and perspectives, but remember that your journey is going to be unique to you as well. Like, it's good to get some tips and stuff, but your journey might not be the same as someone else's. So I'm not sure if I want to share with you guys some tips that I do with my Invisalign, just so that everything stays on track. I might just add that into another video, a follow-up. I want to show you guys my routine, and I think that that's where, you know, the tips will come in. But I hope that this was informative. I hope I didn't forget anything. If so, just leave a comment below and I will definitely respond and give you some feedback. But thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you learned something new. See you guys next time.